Well, the IGAD quartet, heads of state and government, has implored parties involved in the Sudan conflict to declare an unconditional ceasefire to facilitate the commencement of the final phase of the political process to end the conflict. President William Ruto, who met the concerned heads of state under the IGAD quartet in Addis Ababa in Ethiopia, said they were alarmed by the spiraling humanitarian crisis which had since seen more than 2.9 million people displaced and claimed 2,000 lives. Chemutai Goin has more.
An opening session with welcoming.
Despite Sudan's opposition to Kenya's leadership of the IGAD quartet that is attempting to unlock a stalemate pitting the Sudan armed forces and the Rapid Support Force against each other, the quartet went on to hold a meeting imploring the parties to end the conflict.
The atrocities in Darfur are alarming. The targeted interracial attacks are particularly concerning, as they steadily spiral into a humanitarian catastrophe. Our meeting must address this unfolding situation.
The warring parties further urged to establish a humanitarian zone spanning a radius of 30 kilometers in Khartoum, Sudan, to facilitate the delivery of humanitarian assistance.
Given the negative effects of the crisis on the ground throughout the Horn, the Red Sea and the Sahel, humanitarian assistance should also be extended to the neighboring nations with a particular focus on the vulnerable groups, including women, children, and people living with disability.
According to President Ruto, the resolution of the humanitarian crisis will facilitate the resumption of the final phase of the political process that will be inclusive and neutral so as to lay a foundation for sustainable peace, stable and prosperous Sudan.
The situation, ladies and gentlemen, in Sudan is grave. As the conflict continues unabated, we are witness to its devastating impact on the people, on Sudan, and on the region.
The conflict has, according to statistics, claimed over 2,000 lives and resulted in displacement of over 2.9 million others, some of whom have sought refuge in neighboring countries in the Horn of Africa.
The consequence of a protracted conflict in the Sudan will be grave for neighboring countries. The Horn of Africa is still coping from the economic impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, from repeated droughts and climate change-induced problems, as well as from the effects of the Russia-Ukraine crisis. The conflict is set to further fuel the threat of terrorism within the region by thriving on the weakening governance and security system of the Sudan.
Present in the meeting were Prime Minister of Ethiopia Abiy Ahmed, IGAD Executive Secretary Workneh Gebeyehu, UN Secretary General for Humanitarian Affairs and Emergency Relief Coordinator Martin Griffiths, Djibouti Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, and the representatives of the United Nations Office for Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, European Union, among others. Some of the warring parties invited to the table failed to heed the invitation. Sudan has been witnessing deadly armed clashes between the Sudanese army and the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces RSF in Khartoum and other areas since April 15th this year. Chemutai Goin, Citizen TV.